Hello, everyone. Great to be with you. Why is Trump's cabinet suddenly eating sauerkraut? And why is sauerkraut good? I'm going to lay out five main reasons why this is a healthy food to be eating. First of all, this news came out last week. It was like New York Times, Wall Street Journal. I see all these major newspapers covering the fact that Trump's cabinet is eating sauerkraut on the advice of very well-known physician, celebrity physician, Shorn O'Mara, who recommends a diet of fermented foods like sauerkraut, cutting out alcohol, sugary foods, eating grass-fed steak as a way to lose weight and generally improve health. So the headlines were very interesting, depending on their political slant, their political alliance. Some were, this is suggesting it's a good development, it's a healthy development. Others were just focusing on the fact that this is really stinky food and the Trump administration is eating stinky food. What is fermentation? Because sauerkraut is a very good example of food fermentation, and the benefits that people get from eating sauerkraut are due to the fact that it is fermented. In the case of sauerkraut, it's had a certain process that it's gone through that causes the lactic acid to be released from the cabbage, and lactic acid has its own anti-inflammatory benefits and can also be a guard against negative bacteria. What I'm going to get to toward the end in this 5-minute conversation is reasons why people might not want to eat sauerkraut, which is not discussed that often because it's a great food, has many benefits, but for some people it may not be so great. I'm going to talk about that at the end. So one of the main effects is that it's nourishing the probiotics, which are good for the microbiome. And then after the fermentation process, it's producing postbiotics like lactic acid and short-chain fatty acids, which have anti-inflammatory effects, for one. Another fine example of the benefit of sauerkraut is that it's very high in vitamin C. And a general serving of sauerkraut, we're talking like 100 grams, which is about enough to fit in. If you put your two hands together, that's how much sauerkraut you basically, and cup your hands, that's basically how much sauerkraut you get into them. That's roughly 100 grams. And for every 100 grams of sauerkraut, you're getting about maybe 30 milligrams of vitamin C, which is around 30% of the recommended daily intake. Another benefit is through a compound called SMN. It's S-methylmethionine. This one has been used. It's cited for its benefits for things like colitis, for inflammation in the gut, digestive issues. Another benefit of eating sauerkraut is it's high in K2. This is a potassium. This is a different compound, and what it does is it helps to remove the calcium buildup in your soft tissue, like your joints, and get it into where it's supposed to be, back into your bones. So that's three. Another major benefit of eating sauerkraut is that it ups acetylcholine, and acetylcholine is your major neurotransmitter for memory and learning, and it's also very important in terms of gut functioning. So I think that's covered some of the basics, benefits of sauerkraut. I said I'd get to why some people might not want to be eating sauerkraut, and that is in relation to the issue of SIBO, which gets a lot of coverage these days, particularly by doctors like William Davis, who I've interviewed. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, where the bacteria that is supposed to be in the large, is supposed to just be in the bowel and the large intestine, finds its way into the small intestine where it's not supposed to be and causes all sorts of havoc. The problem with eating sauerkraut is that you could be nourishing this bad bacteria in the small intestine, and if you're getting symptoms like bloating and gas and things like that from eating sauerkraut, you may want to back off, because that could be a sign that you're suffering with SIBO, and what you're actually doing by eating sauerkraut is nourishing this bad bacteria. In this case, there are other steps you can take, and looking into the work of doctors like William Davis can lend guidance to that by getting the right kind of good biotics like Lactobacillus reuteri that counter SIBO. Like these bacteria, like reuteri, counter the bad bacteria. So once you've gone through that process of wiping out, using the good bacteria to get rid of the bad bacteria, then you might want to go on and increase your consumption of fermented foods. I'm Brendan Fallon. I'm do a show called Vital Signs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on here soon.